Hi guys, welcome to day one of factoring quadratic expressions. Today we are going to focus on identifying a GCF, which we talked a little bit about already in our Zoom. And then we're also going to factor by grouping. So we're going to focus in on just that method of factoring. You will want to have your factoring note sheet, which I have posted with this Edpuzzle on Google Classroom. You'll definitely want a pen or a pencil and a calculator. Here we go. So to factor quadratic expressions by grouping, it will always be, what we'll be focusing on is when we have a quadratic expression with 4 terms, okay? So your first step here is to make sure that the polynomial equals 0, which we're not really going to be focusing on too much just yet because we won't be solving. We're only going to be looking at expressions, okay? Then your second step is to split the polynomial into 2 groups of 2 terms. So I usually like to call this the group, and we'll put those in separate sets of parentheses, okay? Group. Then what you'll do is you'll factor out the GCF from each group. So in this first group, you're looking and you're trying to see, okay, what can I take out of x squared plus 7x? And you can see that the GCF is an x. So when you take out an x squared take out an x from x squared, you're left with x. When you take out an x from 7x, you're left with 7. Same idea in the next group. You're looking at 2x plus 14 and seeing what you can take out. And you can see in this step, it's a 2. So again, you take out the 2. And then when you take out a 2 from 2x, you're left with x. When you take out a 2 from 14, you're left with 7. And when I say take out, what I mean is you're actually like dividing that term by your GCF, okay? So the important part to notice here is that what is in your parentheses should match, okay? Or what you're left with after you take out the GCF from each group should match. If it doesn't match, you did something wrong and you got to go back and check your work, okay? So then what matches in the parentheses becomes one of your answers. And then what's left over as your GCFs, that becomes your other answer, okay? So you take the 2 GCFs and that becomes one set of parentheses, and then you take your what matches and that becomes your other set, okay? And that is factoring by grouping. Okay, so let's try some more examples. And in this first one, you're going to group, and then look at your first group and see, okay, what can we take out of 3x squared plus 9x? And I know I can take out a 3 from 3 and 9, and I also know I can take out an x from x squared and x. So I'm going to take out a 3x. And then when I do that, 3x squared divided by 3x will leave you with x, and 9x divided by 3x will leave you with 3. Okay, then let's take a look at the second group. Oops. And we have 7x plus 21. So what can we take out of a 7x and a 21? And the only thing here is going to be 7. So if I take out 7x and divide it by 7, I'm left with x. And if I take 21 and divide it by 7, I'm left with 3. So the good news is here that I get x plus 3 and x plus 3. So that is definitely one of my factors. And then I have 3x and a positive 7. So I'm going to write that one as 3x plus 7. And voila, I'm done. I have my factors, and that is my answer. Okay, right now we're just factoring. We're not actually solving, so that's the stuff you're going to leave it at. Okay, let's try another. Again, start out, we have 4 terms, so we're going to group, and make sure that negative goes in your second group. So in the first one, what can you take out of x squared and negative 2x? And I can take out an x, and that will leave me with x minus 2. in the parentheses. Then my second group, what can I take out? And now keep in mind, we want our parentheses to match. So let me just show you guys really quick. But we have negative 4x plus 8. So if you looked at this and you're like, oh, I could take out a 4. That's great. But that would leave you with negative x plus 2. And now what's in the parentheses does not match. Okay, so that's an error. So then we have to go back and look, and we have to say, okay, what if instead we take out a negative 4 because it has that minus in front of it. So if we take out a negative 4, that'll leave me with x, and then 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. So now we're good to go. Now, now these match up. So we would have x minus 2 as one of our factors, and then x minus 4 as the other. The GCFs become your other factor. And that's it. That would be your final answer there. Okay. Awesome. Moving right along, let's try number 3. We've got group, because there are 4 terms. And what can we take out of 12x squared and 9x? Well, they both have an x, and they both can be divided by 3. So let's try taking out a 3x, and that's going to leave us with 12x squared divided by 3x would give you 4x. And then 9x divided by 3x would give you 3. Okay. Then in our second group here, we have negative 8x minus 6. So again, be careful with your signs. But 8 and 6, and they're both negative. So let's take out a negative 2. And that's going to leave us with negative 8x divided by negative 2 is a 4x. And negative 6 divided by a negative 2 is a positive 3. All right, so negative 2 is the right thing to take out because these match. So that's my first set of parentheses. And then your GCFs are your second. So 3x minus 2. All righty. There's your answer. All right, and last one, let's be careful with this one. So we're going to go ahead and group. And in our first group, what can we take out of 16x squared and 4x? Again, they both have an x. And 16 and 4 can both be divided by 4. So 16x squared divided by 4x will leave you with 4x. Whoops. And 4x divided by 4x will leave you with 1. Okay. Then in this next one, 4x plus 1, can we take out anything? Okay, and if you can't take out anything, like we can't take out an x because they both don't have an x, we can't take out a 2, we can't take out a 4. If you can't take out anything, you're going to want to put a 1 because what you're technically taking out is a 1, right? So then we can say, okay, if we don't take out anything, 4x divided by 1 is 4x, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay. Also, you'll still notice that what's in the parentheses match. Okay, so if one set of your parentheses matched what you got here, you should know that you're probably just taking out a 1. Okay, but then this 4x plus 1 that we've underlined in green, that becomes one of yours. And then the GCFs, 4x plus 1, becomes the other one. So this is where some people make a mistake because they don't put that 1 out front. So then they think, oh, the only GCF was a 4x and they just use that. But you need to make sure that you also have the plus 1. Okay. Another way you could write this is obviously as 4x plus 1 squared. So either one of these would be a correct answer. Okay. Alrighty. Awesome job. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a good one. Bye-bye.